Well, friends, now today we will discuss important theory in the jurisprudence. The theory has been propounded by Hans Kelsen. The title of today's lecture is Hans Kelsen's theory of law. Sorry for the glitch. Okay, this is the some biographical points of Hans Kelsen. Kelsen was born in Prague, Czech Republic, on October 11, 1881, Vienna, Austria. Kelsen was interested in philosophy, literature, mathematics, and natural sciences. He studied law at the University of Vienna and taking doctorate in 1906. He was the author of the 1920 Austrian Constitution. He was a judge of the Austrian Constitutional Court until 1930. Kelsen left Austria and lectured in Cologne, Germany until 1933. Kelsen went for the United States in 1940, where he taught first at Harvard Law School and there later until his retirement in 1952 at the Department of Political Science at the University of California. Kelsen wrote his short book in 1934, which is popularly known as Pure Theory of Law, enlarged second edition published in 1960. In 1992, under the title Introduction to the Problems of Legal Theory, Pure Theory of Law. Kelsen's theory is popularly known as Pure Theory of Law. This pure theory, as the enlarged edition of this theory was published in 1960, Austin's pure theory of law is one of the important theory of jurisprudence or legal system. Kelsen's pure theory of law is very popular because Kelsen has rejected extra legal components from the study of the law and the study of the jurisprudence. Kelsen said that law is a pure science. Law is a pure science. Law should not be involved with other sciences. Law should not be indulged with social sciences like history, economics, political science, or natural sciences, morality, and ethics. Law is an independent science. Law is an independent study. It should be studied independently and it should be analyzed independently. Kelsen is also known as the positivistic jurist and belongs for analytical schools of law. But due to his extra conception, or you can say some unique conception of law, his theory is also known as the Vienna School in jurisprudence. Kelsen's pure theory of law said about scientific method by which a phenomenon is interpreted by stating the circumstances, causes, and purposes of its emergence. Now, firstly, dear friends, we would analyze whether why the Kelsen's theory is known as the pure theory of law. Prior to analytical school or prior to positivistic approach of the jurisprudence or the law, law is considered, the source of law is mostly considered as the established customs in the society, established conventions in the society, natural laws, principles of natural justice, laws which comes from the society itself, law which has been made by some you can say king or the some authorized lawmaking person. So prior to Austin, Bentham, and Kelsen, the legal system was prominently dominated by the natural sciences, like morality, ethics, etc. But what Kelsen did? Kelsen said neither law is a custom, nor law is the nor output of the nature or natural principles. Law is what has been prepared by the lawmaking body, legislative body, or authorized body, and the law which has been made by the authorized body, that is the pure law, and that should be studied independently. We should not involve, or we should not interact custom traditions or other extra legal components which are available in the society with the laws. Law should be independently studied, law should be independently analyzed, law should be independently executed in the society. Therefore, this theory is known as the pure theory of law. He rejected extra legal notion, extra legal conceptions from the study of the law. According to Kelsen, procedures for proving that some being object or theory are fully reducible, some other being object, theory, etc., constitutive or metaphysical reduction, mental states and processes, brain states, that is physical entities, different neuronal processes and structures. Kelsen's entire dactionist theory of law, purified of all political ideology and other element of the natural sciences, purified of axiology and sociology, conscious of the autonomy of its subject inquiry, conscious of its own unique character. As we have discussed that, Kelsen purified law from the political ideology, Kelsen purified from law from axiology or sociology. It is an autonomous body. Law is an autonomous body which should be studied autonomously, and law has its unique character, therefore it should not be involved with other sciences, according to Kelsen. Hence, Kelsen and the natural law tradition provides the first sustained examination of Hans Kelsen's critical engagement, itself founded upon a distinctive theory of legal positivism with the natural law tradition. As we have discussed that Kelsen has rejected the principle of natural justice, or the notions or principles which has been developed by the jurist of the natural law. He rejected all those and called that law is an independent and autonomous body, and its object should be achieved autonomously or independently. Further, the Kelsen's view about law and morals. Kelsen's strict separation of law and morality in character to a pure theory of law was integral part of his presentation of the pure theory of law. The application of the law in order to be protected from moral influences, political influences, needed to be safeguarded by its separation from the sphere of convention, moral influences, or political influences. Now, why Kelsen detached law from the morality or ethics? Kelsen said, for the unification of a legal system, law should be made scientifically. And when scientifically law has been made by the lawmaker or the authorized person, then that law is known as the unified law for the all the people. As Kelsen believes that morality and ethics depends human to human. It varies human to human. Morality, one person can be a moral oriented, another person can not be a moral oriented. One person may be ethical oriented, another may or may not be ethical oriented. It is diverse. Morality or ethic diversified in the society. Whereas if the law is made by a proper systematical system, the law becomes uniform, and it is uniformly implemented and uniformly obeyed by the people. Therefore, Kelsen detached law from the law and ethics. As I told you, that is why it is called his theory is called as the pure theory of law. Kelsen also said that law should be, you can say, once law has been made, it should be free from any kind of political influences also. Law and science. Further, Kelsen said in chapter 3 of Pure Theory of Law, Law is defined as the application of norms. It functions within the presentation of a science or scientific law. Science was generally the domain of the casual understanding of epistemological data, and its primary logical and causal oriented technique was to be distinguished from the normative reasoning as was to be found in the pure theory of law. Therefore, the legal sciences were to be normatively based in distinction from the physical sciences, which were to be causally based. Okay, law here Kelsen has detached law from the metaphysical or sciences also. Law is, as we have discussed, law is an independent science. Therefore, it should be studied independently. It should not be involved with the other metaphysical sciences also. This is another conception of Hans Kelsen. The static aspects of law. In chapter 4, Kelsen distinguishes the static theory of law from the dynamic theory of law. The starting theory of law represents the law as the hierarchy of laws, where the individual laws are related as being either superior or inferior the one to the other. Kelsen's theory is also known as the normative theory. Kelsen called law as the norm, or the whole theory, whole legal system, he called the normative science, normative study. Law, according to Kelsen, one norm is connected with another norm. That is called superior norm, or popularly known as Grundnorm. We will discuss it later. Norm actually, as Austin made a pyramidal system of law. One norm is connected with another norm. Another norm is connected with another norm. Meaning there are norm, lower norm is subordinate norm is connected or takes its validity and authoritativeness from upper norm. Upper norm takes its validity and authoritativeness from its upper norm. Likewise, hierarchy of norms. Actually, this is called by John Austin. Hans Kelsen. The dynamic aspect of law. In chapter 5 of Pure Theory of Law, section 34 and 35, Kelsen discusses the dynamic theory of law. Kelsen allows for the legislative process, recognizes the law as the product of political and ethical debate, which is the product of the activity of the legislature before it becomes part of the domain of the static theory of law. Okay, dynamic aspects of law. As Kelsen has given scientific methods for the lawmaking, where prior to the making of the law, it should be properly debated by the lawmaker. It should be properly analyzed by the lawmaker before giving it the final shape. This is called, according to Kelsen, the dynamic aspects of law. Or another point, what Kelsen called law and how Kelsen relate law and state. In chapter 6 of Pure Theory of Law, Hans Kelsen presents his celebrated identity theory of law and state. This is Kelsen's highly functional theory of the state and the law representing the same entity. It is not the kind confused with the sociological domain or the cultural domain of intersubjective activity, nor is it to be confused with the political or even the religious domain of intersubjective interaction among individuals. Okay, now once a law has been made, properly debated by the legislature, thereafter it becomes the duty of the state to implement or to execute that law properly in the society. Objective of the law should be achieved. This is the core function of a theory of Kelsen pure theory. Actually, one important phrase has been given by Kelsen in his theory. That is the legal community and gangs of robbers. There are two kinds of laws in the society. One law should be looked at the face of the legal community. Another law should be looked at the face of the gangs of robbers. Now, how Kelsen, how explain this phrase? According to Kelsen, there are two kinds of norms in this society. One norm, which is properly prepared by, properly enacted by the lawmaker with the ethical debates. Another law is the law which has not been prepared or enacted by authorized body, but that has been given or developed by other person in the society. That for that law, Kelsen called that law as the gangs of the robbers, like commands. for the slaves, eh, commands for the not to do such kind of things in the society. Women should not enter into the particular places. These are the commands which Kelsen called the gangs of the robbers. So now, what Kelsen said, it is the duty of the state. Kelsen called state as the legal community. It is the duty of the state to prepare a pure law, and that law should be properly implemented in the society. State and international law. In chapter 7, Kelsen discusses the interaction of state law and international law, as these are especially guided by the understanding of political sovereignty. For Kelsen, the assemblage of international law is that is representative at a very primitive form of law in distinct contrast to the highly developed forms of law as may be found in individual nations and states. As a result, Kelsen emphasizes that international law is often prone to the conduct of war and severe diplomatic measures. However, Kelsen is not against the international law, but if it is properly assembled, or it is properly obeyed or properly implemented by the implementing bodies, then that can be a pure law according to Kelsen. Basic norm, Grundnorm. It is the important portion of Kelsen's theory. Kelsen assumes, however, that the scientific representation of a positive legal order as the hierarchy of legal proposition must have the grantor of unity. This grantor cannot be other than a competent of the representation, hence a legal proposition. Being a legal proposition, it counts as a representation of an actual norm. So Kelsen calls it elliptically a basic norm, good norm. According to Kelsen, in a society, in a state, there is a upper norm. That upper norm is known as the good norm. That can be called as the basic norm. That can be called as the apex norm. That is the higher norm in this society or the state. All the laws, all the not laws in Kelsen's language, all the norms derived its validity or its conformity from the ground norm. Even if lawmakers are making the law, they are bound to follow the direction of the ground norm. They cannot go against the propositions established by the ground norm, basic norms. Lawmakers, it there is a ground norm. Lawmakers are the subordinate norms. Lawmakers or legislative body, subordinate norms have to follow the ground norm, direction of the ground norm. They cannot make such law which are against the ground norm. Okay. Then, when law has been made by the legislative body with the confirmation of the ground norm, the laws which have been made by the lawmaking body, these laws are again the subordinate norms. If under that subordinate norm, certain bodies have been created, for example, Reserve Bank of India or University Grant Commission, IRDA, SEBI, these are again the subordinate norms. If these bodies further make some rules and regulations, the further rules and regulations are again called the subordinate norms. There is a chain. Good norm is at apex level. All the subordinate norms individually derives their validity from the good norm. Subordinated norm has to derive its validity from its upper norm, like simultaneously from the ground norm, or then combinedly all the subordinate norms have to acquire their validity and conformity from the ground norm. In a given society, there is a ground norm. Ground norm is the starting point of pure theory of law. The legal system is an ordering of human behavior. The idea of duty is the essence of law. This is evident in the art of every law. In every legal system, there is existence of hierarchy of arts. Among such arts, some are fundamental from which all others emanate. This is called ground norm. As we have already discussed, apex level ground norm, all this subordinates norm, all norms in the society derives their validity and conformity from the ground norms. If any norm, either it is a upper norm or subordinate norm or subordinate norms, if any portion, any point, any section, or any part of that norm uh, go against the ground norm or is not in consonance with the ground norm, such portion or such part will be considered as null and void according to Hans Kelsen. Nature of ground norm. A ground norm is said to be accepted when it has secured for itself a minimum level of effectiveness. When it ceases to derive a minimum of support, it ceases to be the basis of the legal order. For that reason, it is replaced by some other ground norm or which obtain minimum support. Okay, to ground norm remain in the society for whole time, but if it is replaced by another ground norm, if some mature system comes into place, then previous ground norm can be replaced. It can only be happened when such a major or mature ground norms comes into existence. He termed his basic norm as ground norm. Thus, all other norm derives its validity from ground norm already discussed. Ground norm is no longer a hypothesis but a fiction of law. We cannot say ground norm good or bad as we have to test it politically, religiously, or ethically. Hierarchy of good norm, hierarchy of law. Commits an offense, get arrested, charge sheet, tried in the court, thereafter the sanction. These are the hierarchy of the norm, or you can say pyramid of norm. Law as a normative science. Kelsen called law as a normative science. He described law as normative science as distinguished from natural science, which are based on cause and effect, such as law of gravitation. The law of natural science are capable of being accurately described, determined, and discovered in the form of which it is an essential characteristic of natural science. According to him, science of law is knowledge of what law ought to be, or it is the ought character which provides normative character to law. In other words, a commit theft, he ought to be punished. Like Austin, Kelsen also consider sanction as an essential element, but he prefers it to call it norm. Okay, as Austin said, a law properly so called should be backed by the sanction. Likewise, Kelsen also advocated sanction as an important portion of the law, but Kelsen called punishment, Austin called punishment as sanction, Kelsen called punishment as norm. Indian Constitution, a ground norm. Now question arises, dear friend, whether Indian Constitution is a ground norm or not. Definitely. In Kelsen's sense, the Indian Constitution is a ground norm. Indian Constitution is a ground norm because this is the apex document of the land. This is the supreme law of Indian continent. Therefore, we can compare that as per Kelsen's ground norm, Indian Constitution is a ground norm. But there is one difficulty. Kelsen said ground norm cannot be ordinarily changed until and unless it is replaced by other ground norm. But one cannot check the validity of the ground norm according to Kelsen. One cannot check the efficacy of that ground norm according to Kelsen. But in India, time to time, we have changed the constitution. We have made more than 105, 4 5 amendments in the constitution as per the suitability of the time, as per the requirement of the society. We have changed or will be changed in the future. But Kelsen said the ground norm is a staunch that cannot be, you can say, interfered by any political organization, etc. But our constitution can be changed. Therefore, purely we cannot say that Indian constitution is a ground norm. But beside, as we have seen in the Keshwananda Bharati versus Union of India, the basic structure, doctrine of basic structure has been constructed by the Supreme Court of India. The doctrine of basic structure said, okay, Parliament has the power to amend the constitution, but the Supreme Court of India said time to time after Keshwananda Bharti case also, time to time, the Supreme Court of India said that you can change the constitution, you can amend the constitution, but you cannot curtail the basic structure of the constitution, like part 3 of the constitution. In Kelsen's sense, somehow the basic structure of the constitution can be said the grundnorm of the Indian nation. Okay, now criticism of Kelsen's theory. Grundnorm hypothetical assumption. What is the source of Grundnorm? What is the source of Grundnorm? Kelsen has not given the answer. This is the basic prominent criticism of the Kelsen. Okay, like in India, we have the Grundnorm. We can call constitution Grundnorm, basic structure Grundnorm. We can say the source of constitution is the Constituent Assembly debates. We can say the source of the basic structure is the Supreme Court of India after giving the deliberation on various aspects. But Kelsen failed to define the source of the Grundnorm. Criticizers said that one side, Kelsen has divested, detached custom, tradition, culture, conventions from the jurisprudence or the law, whereas somehow the Grundnorm is the, you can say, in Sevenese language, the Volcogist of a particular society. This is the point of criticism of Hans Kelsen. Custom ignored. As we know, custom plays an important role basically in generally in personal affairs of the human being, like marriage, partition, inheritance, succession, or guardianship, adoption. These affairs are governed by the established customs of the society, and in Hindu community, Hindu code bill was even developed on the basis of the custom. Custom somehow plays important role in legal system, but Kelsen has ignored the custom as a source of law. Moral aspects ignored. Principles of natural justice, as we have followed in Menka Gandhi's case. Kelsen divested or detached principles of legal justice, principle of natural justice from the legal system. This is the another criticism of Kelsen. Judge-made law. Precedent plays an important role in a legal system. Judge-made laws play important role in our legal system, society, but Kelsen ignored the judge-made law also. So, dear friend, this is the short uh, discussion over the Kelsen's pure theory of law. Thank you very much.